We traveled to the nearby forest in order to get some soil for the blueberries. We also want some soil for them with the right amount of acidity in it. So we don't have any forests in our area, so we need to travel approximately up to 10 kilometers from the place where we live to the nearby forest with coniferous trees. So we went there, we got a lot of soil, and yeah, I'm ready to use it. And I tried to get some soil for further use, so I'm not going to use all of it, just in case I will need it someday. And that's gonna be it. Something that we've been doing for a while. And I'm going to prepare the patch for the new patch for blueberries. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this rather fertile soil because the blueberries are not going to grow in here. And I'm going to put something on the bottom and take the soil that we have from the forest and put it in here and plant the blueberries. I have a separate video about that because they were actually dying, and that was my first experience of growing blueberries, and I didn't know what to do and kind of like where to put them. But I've watched a couple of videos where people shared the tips of taking the soil from the forest and the coniferous trees. And that was a very successful experience because the blueberries revived and they grew tremendously and they gave a lot of harvest. I'm planning on expanding the patches with blueberries because they're easy to grow, and it kind of like it's a very nice berry that I've loved recently. So I'd like to have it in my garden in abundance. So yeah, it definitely takes time to do that, time and stamina. But I hope I will kind of like go slowly, and like the soil here is rather fluffy, as you can see, just because that was the patch where we grew different vegetables over the years. So it's not difficult to take it out. And yeah, so for now, that is the plan. Apart from this, I like to say a couple of words about the varieties that I have. I picked a lot of different varieties. I didn't aim at buying one variety, the one that I loved or something, and plant it. I decided to buy the varieties in order to extend the season when they're going to bear berries. So there are so many varieties, the earliest, the latest, and most of them are, of course, of American selection. But in any case, for me, it was really important to just have a look at the period of when I'm going to get the blueberries and expand it during the whole summer season. So that's why there aren't any bushes of similar varieties. All of them are different, and in here they're going to be different varieties. So that is the experiment. I'm really interested in how it's going to turn out. Moreover, another interesting observation of why this idea is really awesome is This April and May are extremely cold. And right now, the blueberries, they have started blooming. And the reality is there are a couple of varieties that, of course, didn't survive the frost. I mean, the blossom. And there were two varieties where the blossom survived the frost completely. So it means that if I had one variety, I would not get anything at all. But just because I have different varieties, they just show different results depending on the weather conditions of every single year. So that's just another awesome idea of have so many different varieties, just having a look at how or what conditions they like, and of course relying on those varieties depending on the weather of a certain season. Well, that's all for today. The hardest work is done. Tomorrow I'm going to do all the rest. And for now, just enjoying the evening, the singing of the birds, the nightingale, my favorite bird, and just enjoying this rather cold and chilly evening. That's how my first patch of blueberries looks like. So there is one variety that is blooming in abundance. I'm not sure about the berries actually, because we are having cold nights and the blossom are not standing. And yesterday I added this kind of like soil that we took from the forest. So basically that is like leaf litter, pine needles, pine cones, and yeah, just a bit of moss here and there. And so that's like this whole mix which the plants really love. And every single year I add a thin layer, because with time, of course, everything gets fermented and turns into the soil. And that is what I'm doing with this patch. And here I have all the different varieties, and you can see the difference. That is something that I was mentioning before. Every single variety is different by the way they grow, by the way they bloom. And that is actually the blueberry bush that I was saving in one of my earlier videos, because it was actually dying. The second bush died completely. And this one I definitely managed to save, and right now it actually gives so many berries every single year. And now using the plastic cover to seal the bottom. We need it especially for the reason that we have a lot of moles here, and that is something that was happening with this patch. So the moles, they create this mix up with the normal soil, and of course the blueberry doesn't like it. So a kind of like a protection for several years in the form of the plastic wrap, though it's not necessarily durable, but at least it provides the a good seal. But of course, if I had another material, I would definitely take it. There are a lot of nice materials that you can use, the more durable ones. But for now, I think this one's going to be okay, because I don't even know how blueberries are going to grow in here because of the sun exposure, which is going to be slightly different comparing with this patch. And I hope it's going to be enough. I don't want to be bothered with sacks. because it's hard to move them, and I think like I just don't like this idea yet, because that was initially the first thing that I was trying with blueberries. Once I bought my first bushes, I put them into later I put them into sacks. They didn't like it at all. Also because of a high cost for a nice durable sack or container. But this variant I love more, though it is tougher to actually perform it, but it's durable. Well, at least I love it. Voila, 1 hour of work and the bed is ready. Maybe it even took more than 1 hour. I didn't count, but I felt like it was 1 hour. It wasn't easy at all because it's just really hard to kind of construct something like this. That's why I get the people who put them into containers and forget about all of this stuff. But as I've mentioned, I really wanted this kind of like big bed in order to try and plan more. And right now, when having a look at the size of it, I think that I can even put more blueberry bushes, because like at first I was afraid that they're going to grow really high, just because a lot of varieties claim to be up to 2 meters. But in reality, I don't see them this way, and I think I can plant them slightly closer, though maybe with time it will definitely show the whole beauty of the bush. But as for now, that is what I came up with, and I'm going to fill it in with the soil from the forest, and I hope the soil is going to be enough, because like having a look at how much space in here, I start thinking whether I'm gonna kind of like have enough of it. But in any case, it's not a problem to return back and get more. It just again takes much time. These are cranberry plants. I'm going to take them out and put them into a new patch. Moreover, they don't like it because the soil here is the soil that I bought specifically for blueberries, but it does not contain the moisture. So there is a big problem with this soil, and for what I can see, the cranberry doesn't like it in here. So I'm going to carefully take them out. Without disturbing the root system much. Actually, I've mixed it with sand. You can see a bit of sand here. But I don't know what's the matter and why the cranberry is not growing the way I want it to grow. But at least it's alive, so it means that it can be saved. Though the root system is actually rather extensive, from what I can see. It's really big. And I'm going to plant blueberries. So here I have two different varieties. This one I'm sure is Aurora, so that is one of the varieties that I fell in love with, especially with the name. And the second one, if I pronounce it correctly, is Guron. So yeah, these are the varieties that I decided to add to my collection based on their characteristics. And I'm going to plant them in this new bed. Also because of the sun, I decided to plant the cranberries at the very beginning because the sun is shining over there. Like right now, you can definitely see that. So it means that the bushes won't get the equal amount of sunshine. And for this purpose, I added cranberries at the very beginning. And now I'm going to plant 2 blueberry bushes. And the blueberry bed is ready. I'm really happy about this because it took me half of the day right now and yesterday the whole evening when I was preparing and taking the soil out and actually getting to the forest. So it took 2 hours in the forest to get everything into the sacks. So I'm really happy about this. I'm really excited of what is going to turn out. Because as I told you, I'm falling in love with blueberries and I see so much potential in growing them and yeah, maintaining them in the garden. Especially with this unpredictable spring when we are losing a lot of harvest because of the frost, but blueberries seem to be pretty, the birds are actually crazy, they're singing all of the time. But what I was saying, the blueberries, they're not afraid of frost as much as other fruit trees and bushes. So here I have 3 bushes of cranberry, 2 bushes of blueberries, and also just for any occasion, for any case, I left 1 tiny spot in the very end of the bed, hoping to put 1 more bush, though it's going to be insane. I mean, like, there isn't much space left. 1 spot is available. And also because I removed the cranberry from over there, I'm going to add 1 more variety to that bed. Actually, it's going to be the 6th variety. Can you imagine this? So over there, I'm going to have 6 bushes of blueberries, and over here, 2, potentially 3. And I think that's going to be ideal. Like all of them are of different varieties, and it's going to be an experiment. But everything has changed completely for the past years when I introduced blueberries into my garden, and I definitely fell in love with it, and I'm getting more and more of it, even though, as I've mentioned before in those videos of mine, blueberries and berries are not as popular. Of course, they are getting more and more widespread because people see a lot of advantages in growing blueberries. But in my village, I know that there aren't people, I don't even know if there are any who grow blueberries. My godmother tried to, but then she quit. I take so much pleasure in doing this. So thank you for watching and thank you for staying till the very end of this incredibly interesting video. See you soon. Take care.